All right, it is 6 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started. We're on Unit 3, talking about developing the brand strategy. I'm glad to have some of you on. This is also being recorded and will be available in the archive in your course room if you need to also go back and view some of the information I provide about the assignments that you'll be doing this week. That's a good place to do it. You can fast forward it, you can rewind it, you can do all the things you can typically do with any kind of video. So just keep that in mind that it is available in the archive in your course room. If you need help knowing where to find it, let me know and we can take a look at how to do that as well. Hope you all have had a good start to the week. Hope you had a great weekend. I've redone my PowerPoints. I had a message on Saturday that my hard disk was full on my laptop and that I needed to make some extra room. And I typically am doing quite a few things at one time and don't often take the time to look at carefully what I'm necessarily doing. And I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and clean up that hard disk and make some extra room. And somehow I had it delete all my downloads, which included absolutely every PowerPoint lecture, even a research project I'm working on. Everything deleted when I woke up Sunday morning. All my files were gone. So I took it as a sign from God that I needed to get a new start on things. And I just redid my PowerPoints for the class, refreshed them a little bit, and here we are. So that was the start to my week on Sunday. It was not good, but I didn't spend too much time thinking about it and just thought, okay, the documents I actually need will come back to me since I do email a lot of things back and forth. So, anyway, I do have my marketing umbrella, have a new and improved marketing umbrella. So, again, just a refresher, marketing encompasses a lot of things. This umbrella showcases that marketing covers people, the customers that we serve, products, which can be all kinds of things. We've talked about that, tangible touch and feel products. It can be places. So maybe you're thinking about spring break and where you might go on vacation. As a place could be a product that is marketed, an idea, people, services. We're all thinking about we have to get our taxes done coming into this new year. So that's also a service is a product. Then we look at place, which is how we get products to our customers. We had some work on that in Unit 2, where we talked about digital and traditional strategies for getting products to consumers. Once we understand how we're going to do our distribution, then we can come up with a price for our products. And finally, the last thing that we can do is the really sexy stuff that everybody thinks marketing is, and that's our promotion. And we have 5 promotional strategies that we can choose from. We have advertising, public relations, personal selling, sales promotion, PR, direct marketing. So those are our 5. And we can use old media, which is traditional print, television,
Hello.
radio, or we can use new media. I'm going to mute everybody. I have some students who aren't on mute and I can hear all your conversations. So if you need to ask a question, please unmute yourself, ask your question, and we will get on with it. And then, so we can use our promotional in traditional media, television, print, or radio, or we can use it in new media, which is digital, social, and mobile. And then the handle that holds up our entire umbrella is the marketing research. We need research for every single area of marketing. So this is a good visual just to keep in mind everything that marketing encompasses. As we go into our live chat tonight, just a quick agenda. We're going to review last week, talk a little bit about things that we did. and my grading, and then we'll look at our assignments. We'll discuss the assignments. I will go over them, how you need to do them, and submit them, and then we'll talk about the course concepts, and we'll have question and answer. Again, you're always welcome to ask your questions as you have them. You can either raise your hand, you can unmute yourself and ask your question, however you want to do it. You can put it in the chat. Oftentimes, it's harder for me to get to the chat and actually look at that question while I'm trying to present the information. But all of those methods are available to you to answer questions. So, let's go ahead and look at what we did last week and just kind of a word about the grading. I had a lot of messages, I had some emails from students. I provide all kinds of help. Before you submit that assignment, we have the live chat where I do carefully go over your assignments. It's also your opportunity to ask a lot of questions. That live chat is recorded. It goes into your course room. So if you can't attend the live chat, you have that available in the course room and you can watch that at any time. You want to watch it at 2 a.m., it's there for you. And again, as I mentioned, you can fast forward, you can rewind it. You only have to watch the parts you want to watch. So if you only want to get in there, you don't care anything about the course concepts, maybe you've read in the textbook and you have a really firm understanding of the course concepts, and all you want to know is how to do the homework, you can go into the live chat and only watch that portion. So just keep in mind that I am here for you to answer questions. You can message me, all kinds of things before you submit your homework. Happy to help you, happy to get you through it and to understand it. Do keep in mind that if you're working on it late in the evening, I'm not going to be awake or available to help you. So that help is extended if you do a little bit of pre-planning. And then keep in mind course templates. Those are a necessity. So every university has assignments for students in the courses that they're taking. Those assignments have requirements of certain ways that you need to do that work. Just like if you are in a workplace, your workplace will have specific ways that they want you to do things. Those templates are non-negotiable. You need to use them and submit them. That's why in the assignments that have the templates, it says use this template. For those of you who may have submitted work and you did not use the template, I gave you a 0. I sent a message to you in your grade feedback that said, please use the template, redo this assignment, and submit it using the template. So make sure that you use those templates. That's non-negotiable. The other part of the grading is remember that you're in graduate school. Graduate school is special. It means that you've advanced. You need to write for graduate school. That is an expectation as well. If you're writing for elementary school or high school, I'm probably going to dock your grade or ask you to do more. Graduate work is APA. You need to bring in outside sources to validate the information that you have. You need to add clarity, and it needs to have a certain level of sophistication to it. So remember that you are in graduate school. If you've got a paper that is one page and very little information, you're probably not going to do well on that. So think graduate school, think like a graduate. Include those outside sources, validate those ideas, and don't use AI to do your work. And then don't argue with me when you've used it that I don't know what I'm talking about. So it's really very, very obvious when you're using AI to do your work. You can use AI to get ideas for the work that you're going to do, but do not copy and paste and submit that assignment as your own. I will oftentimes, when it's very, very, very evident that you have used AI, I will also give you a 0, return that work to you, and ask you to redo it. If it continues to happen, it will get submitted to academic integrity they will give you a 0 and you will not have an opportunity to redo it. So I do beg of you to work with me when I'm trying to work with you, when I'm trying to teach you how to be graduate students, and I'm trying to get you through the course. The other thing I do want to remind you, and I've said it repeatedly, I don't regrade work. So if you got maybe I don't know, let's say you got 80% on an individual project, you can't take the feedback that I've given you, redo the paper and resubmit it. I'm not going to just keep grading things until you get the grade you want. Take the things that I've given you in your scoring rubric, that feedback, use it to improve upon your work in the next week. This is again graduate school. We do not keep regrading papers. They get graded once. That's it. I don't mean to sound harsh, but that's just the way that graduate school works. So please, please don't ask me to regrade assignments. Students do it continually, and I don't understand at all where they got the concept that they can take the paper, use the grade feedback, redo it, and keep resubmitting it until they get the grade they want. Your opportunity to understand the homework, to ask questions, is before you submit it. Make sure that you understand what you're doing, you're putting in the time, you're asking the questions, you're learning the material, and then you're submitting that work. Does anybody have any questions before we go into the assignments for Unit 3? Okay. All right. So
I have a
Unit,
question. This is
okay.
Virginia McCoy. Jeannie is what I
Yes.
prefer to be called. So, with all discussion boards going forward,
You went on mute. What happened? Virginia, unmute.
sorry,
That's
somebody
okay.
hit my little
Wind
headset.
back.
So, with all discussion boards, there's no references or no in text citations or anything. That's just a straight discussion of your thoughts, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
okay,
I do believe in the assignments it says other things, but I just really want you to discuss it. It's a
okay,
discussion board like we're discussing in class. I've got a lot of changes that we need to do, just minor things, but some different things that need to be in the rubrics. And then I want to reiterate that exact thought, Virginia, that these are discussions. Give me your top of mind thoughts. And I'm going to talk about that when we get to the discussion board assignment for this week.
okay. Thank you for
That's a
clarifying
it's a
that.
great question. Thank you. The references can give it that AI feel, if that makes sense. Martavius, that does make sense.
Yes, it does. It so does. It's so different when you're actually just like, because I get long-winded when I get into something.
Okay,
So
well,
I
don't do that. Make sure that I'm answering here. I'm answering Martavius' question. When you use outside information, if you have an outside source or you're stating something that is a fact, you do have to use an in-text source citation. That has been for eternity. That is not going to change. AI is not going to change it. What gives it that AI feel is when you guys are incredibly wordy. You're using words that normal people wouldn't use. The other thing is, as you put the prompts in and you put the assignments into AI, keep in mind that we've been teaching this class for quite some time. We have four or five, no, we have 6 sections of this class. That's a lot of students. So do you know what happens when you put the prompts into AI or you put the assignments in there? We get the same stuff. So everybody is submitting the same stuff. We're seeing all the same answers. Yeah, the AI puts out those same answers. Remember when I said last week, please don't do any EcoSIP products? Do you know I was talking with the other faculty that teach this class? we've seen so many of those EcoSip products, and when students submit those, and I'm like, hey, I know you did this in AI, please redo it. That's not how we want this to flow. You're not going to learn anything. You're going to get your diploma. You're going to go out there and say, I have an MBA. They're going to assume that you know things, and you're not going to know one blessed thing. You're not going to be able to do anything in your job. Our goal is to help you learn this information. And so we put the things together the way we have so that you will learn this information and you'll know what you're doing when you get out. When you put all the stuff into AI, and let me tell you, AI is very, um, it's only as good as the people that are driving it. And I will give you an example. I think I gave you this example once. I was asked to moderate some focus groups for a company in London, and it was right around the holidays. It was a very, very quick turnaround for what they needed. We had the meeting one day, and they wanted the focus groups like 3 days later. Quick, quick turnaround. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. It takes forever. I've done so many focus groups, moderated them, put together the moderator's guide. And I thought to myself, I'm going to put the information in, I'm going to have AI develop the moderator's guide, and then I will fix it because I know what I'm doing, because I have moderated focus groups, I know how to write a moderator's guide. If I had just taken what AI spit out, it would have been a nightmare. They wouldn't have gotten the information they needed. Nothing would have flowed. It would have been the worst research ever, ever conducted. But because I know what I'm doing, I could take the sort of way that AI had put it together and I could fix it from there. But let me tell you, it took a lot of fixing. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't an experienced focus group moderator, if I'd never written a moderator's guide. So when you guys take the information and you put it in AI, some of the things that it spits out and you submit don't make sense. But you don't know enough to know that it doesn't make sense. So you go ahead and submit it. And we as faculty are going, oh my gosh, they used AI to do the entire project. And it just doesn't work. Yeah, AI sometimes is just not worth it. And when you submit it in AI, we know that it is AI. And then we get a lot of students that want to argue with us. Oh, I would never do that. I don't even know what AI is. I've never used it. And it's like, oh, come on. It's so very obvious. So for the discussion boards, just discuss the topics. You don't need to get all into the weeds with it. But if you are using outside information, you're using information of fact, you do need to cite that source. All right, I want to get on with this. I'm going to come back to this slide that you're seeing right now. We're going to go into, I want to go out of this and into the actual assignments so we can take a look at them and go through them. I want to walk you through those assignments. So let me get into that. And okay, so in Unit 3, let's look at the discussion board as our first assignment for Unit 3. So in this discussion board, you're going to look at data analytics. So there's a lot of data that we help companies collect, data on us. Things like our email address, our home address, our age, our gender, credit card numbers. I had to order a bunch of stuff from my coffee bar probably 5 minutes before I got into this online lecture. And I entered all of these things that are listed. I entered my email, my home address, my age, my gender, my credit card, all of that. The company got all of that. We also, and that is what we call structured data because it's got form fields. It has structure to it. Your gender is going to be either male, female, your credit card number is what it is, everything is structured. Unstructured data cannot easily be put into categories. Some examples of unstructured data include our internet search results. So everything that we search for on the internet, it carries a footprint. information in the body of an email, data from social media posts, photos, text messages, voicemails. All of that is data and it's unstructured. It cannot be put into a specific category. For the discussion board, you're going to watch this little video on the importance of big data and analytics and marketing because everything we do has that footprint. All of that data is collected and marketers use it. They use it all day long to hope to get us to buy more products to become customers. So using what you've learned from your reading for this week and from that video, you're going to just have a discussion with your colleagues in the business program in this course. How do companies use big data to support their marketing efforts? Provide one example of how a company, maybe a gaming, a retail, entertainment, use your own life and your own examples, how companies might use the data to improve customer experience, and then describe two ethical dilemmas that businesses face when they collect and use that big data. So you can explain why each scenario is considered unethical. You can talk about data accuracy, misuse of sensitive information. We're all customers, so just use one of your own examples. We encounter this all day long. I know I do, and I don't really shop much. The only thing I do for shopping is I shop for inventory for my coffee bar. So look at how that data gets used. And I will say that for me, in my example, the big data that is used for me is that I get spam phone calls all day long. Every hour I go in and delete probably 10 to 15 voicemails and phone calls that have been blocked. I block the numbers. I don't take any calls from numbers that I don't recognize. But I get all these spam voicemails. I get text messages, emails, constant with companies or people wanting to sell me stuff because my data is out there. So that's my example. So just have the discussion about this. You don't need to put this into AI for examples because then we'll get all the same examples from everybody. Just use your own experience. Have a little fun with it. I don't even care if you get to a certain word count. I just want you to discuss this particular topic. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Let's go then to our individual project.
I'm sorry, I do have a question.
Okay, Candace, go ahead.
So you said even in the discussion boards, if we're using facts or something from that particular reading, you want us to go ahead and cite the information, even if it's in the discussion board.
Even if it's in the discussion board, if you use information, facts that are not your own thoughts, if you do not cite it, that's plagiarism.
Gotcha.
And that's just not cool.
Yes, ma'am.
It's illegal, not advisable. It's
Gotcha.
it's stealing is what it is.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure 100%.
Yes, I appreciate that. That was a great question. So
No
thank you for
problem.
asking it. And always remember, that was great. Candace asked that question. If you have a question, chances are really good your classmates also have that question. So always go ahead and ask it because that will help your classmates as well. Anything else before we move on to the individual assignment? Okay, for the individual assignment, you have three parts to this. So you see section A, B, and C. So again, you have your course reading, but you also have another video. It's called The Difference Between Demographics and Psychographics in Marketing. We talked last week about market segmentation, and we looked at the four segmentation bases are demographics, geographics, psychographics, and behavioral. For this assignment in Unit 3, we're only going to look at demographic and psychographic data. So you're going to watch this little video and you are going to write a paper. There is a template. Make sure you use the template. See where it says, please use the template to complete this assignment. So you're going to first talk about demographics, describe the brand that you choose. You're going to choose a brand and how you use it in your daily life. So pick a brand, pick something that you use and like. What are two demographic traits of this particular brand's customer, typical customer? And then how do these demographics influence the product design, the messaging, and the advertising? The next section is psychographics. So using that brand, define psychographics and its purpose in marketing, and then describe two psychographic traits that the brand likely targets. So an example might be adventurous lifestyle, health conscious mindset, budget focused shoppers. Use examples based on your observation of the brand's ads, the brand's website, or its social media. So for this assignment, you're picking a brand that you use, something that you're familiar with. This will help you as you look at the demographics and psychographics for the brand. You're going to provide some analysis. Do you think it's necessary for marketers to understand both demographics and psychographics? Why or why not? Using the chosen brand to explain your answer. And then based on the information from your demographics and psychographics, you're going to create a buyer persona, but you need to utilize this HubSpot persona generator. This continues. I just sent an email to our course development people. This typo has been in here and it irritates me more than anything I could ever possibly tell you. I sent my fourth or fifth email to get this fixed. It should say HubSpot Persona Generator. You're going to click on this. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to take you to that particular HubSpot Persona Generator and show you exactly how to use it because you're going to create a persona based on your information, your demographics and psychographics for the brand that you've chosen. You're going to create the persona, then you're going to download it, and you're going to include it in your assignment submission. So let me stop sharing this, and we're going to go into looking at that persona
Question.
grader. Yes.
Are you about to give an example of that? Because I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I just said I'm going to go into that and show you exactly how to do it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I would not leave you alone on that one. Okay, can you see my screen where it says make my persona? Can everybody see that?
Yes, ma'am, if we click on that particular link, will it take us somewhere else or it's safe?
It will take you right to this.
Okay.
Yes. It's
Because you
going to
said
take
that
you.
it was a typo there, so I'm like, it's gonna take us somewhere
Oh,
else.
the typo doesn't matter, but the link will take you exactly to this spot.
Gotcha.
That's a good question, though.
Okay,
So-
Ms. Goldsman.
Yes.
I started on it and I did the persona, and as I continue to hit the button to go to the next little topic or whatever, I finished everything, but I didn't know
I'm
how
going to show
to.
you.
I didn't know if you want us to copy and paste it and
Uh,
put it in there, or how we were supposed to put it in there.
I'm going to show you.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions before I show you guys how to do this? Okay. All right. So you're going to hit the build my persona and you'll continue to hit build my persona. It's going to ask you questions. So you'll walk through all of this. You'll name your persona, you'll pick what the avatar looks like. You'll then talk about the age, highest degree. You can skip through this and skip through walkthrough mode, and then you can start building your own. So when you talk about your persona, you want to talk about the typical customer for that product you've chosen. So what's the preferred method of communication? You could enter it there. They like maybe email, or they like text message, or they use social media, direct message. What kind of job do they have? What are their job responsibilities, their goals, the challenges that they face? You want as much information about your persona as you can. You're going to give them a name, you're going to give them a job title, you put their age in, highest degree of education. You'll utilize the different social networks that they typically work in, or not work in, but that they use. You'll type the industry that they work in. You can add new sections, so you can add new information. I think you can, no, you can't change that information, but you can add new information. So put as much information as possible. If you don't fill this out and I get a whole bunch of these that say enter text here, guess what? You're not going to do very well. Because if you're in a marketing role and you're building out a persona, you need as much information about the customer as you can possibly get. Because the more information you have, the better able you are to understand that customer and target them with messaging and products that they actually want. So once you get this all completely filled out, then you're either going to, well, you could hit save, but you want to download it. So you're going to hit the download button. I can't do anymore because I do this. I show every single class. And so I've done it too many times. So it's not going to let me save anymore. It's not going to let me replace them. But when you hit download, oh, shoot. When you get to that part where it's when you hit download, you will get your persona in a PDF. And then you can take that and you can either do a screenshot to include the graphic file into your Word document, or you can upload the PDF itself as a separate file. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to hit the download. It will download your file. It downloads it as a PDF. You can open the PDF and take a screenshot, put it in your paper as a graphic file, or upload the persona as the PDF file as a separate file. So those are two ways you can do things. Does everybody have an understanding? Does anybody have any questions?
So you could have
No.
two files.
You can upload two files into your assignment submission.
Okay, thank you.
You can upload 10 if you want. It'll let you, you can upload. Yeah. Any other questions?
If we do this screenshot, what do you want the screenshot of exactly?
Well, when you download this, it should give you a PDF and include everything so you can whoopsies. You can take a picture of the whole thing. I want the whole thing. If you need to do it in two separate files, two separate screenshots, you can do that as well. But you need to include all of that information. I need to see that entire persona.
Well, let me ask you this. Would it let us insert it in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think in the template, let's go back and look at the template. If we pull down the template, I think I'm going to have to stop my share. Can you see the template, or do I need to stop my share?
We can't see it.
Okay, hold on. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So when you go through this template, you're going to have your areas for all your information. You're going to include this HubSpot persona right here.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll paste it right into there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
And then just add additional information if needed up under it.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you don't have to, but because you're going to talk about everything that's in the persona, because you're going to go over all the demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Up here, you're going to talk about the brand that you've chosen. So let's just say I drink these LaCroix waters all day long. I
Mhm.
hope I don't find out in a couple years that they're killing me.
I
Um,
know, right?
but I drink these all day long. So let's say I pick LaCroix water. I would talk a little bit about LaCroix water here. I would
Mhm.
say the brand I've chosen is LaCroix water. Here's what I
Mhm.
like about it. I
Right.
would put some company information, and that's where I might have some text,
Mhm.
some in-text source citations talking about LaCroix water. Then I would go into the demographics about LaCroix water. I may go look at their website, their social media to see what kind of customers are buying LaCroix water
Mhm.
besides people like me.
Right.
So I'm going to talk about the demographics. I'm going to talk about psychographics. Then I'm going to come down here and I will go in and I would build a persona about the typical LaCroix water customer. So
Mhm.
that's what my persona would be on. Then
Right.
I would click and insert that graphic of my persona right here. And then I would look at my analysis of why it's important for LaCroix to use both demographics and psychographics.
Mhm.
If you look at their social media, their Facebook, their Instagram, the more they know about their customers, the better able they can create content that their customers will engage with. And
Mhm.
that's one particular reason why we need to know as much about our customers as possible and why it's important to use both demographics and psychographics. I'm going to tell you, we have about 20 minutes left, and I'm going to go into some information on branding and a little bit about demographics and psychographics. Does anybody have questions about that buyer persona or the,
Yes.
yes, go ahead, Candace.
So the persona is based off of what their usual customer would look like, basically.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay, cool. That kind of clicked, but okay, good.
You got it.
Yes.
You are right on.
That's where I'm at on the persona.
Any other questions? Now
No.
is a good time to ask them. It's not your only time. You can also message me. Remember that. Okay, I'm gonna stop share. We're gonna go in then, and I'm gonna finish up because I want to show you a little bit about um, psychographics and demographics, but I also want to cover branding. Anyway, okay, so this is what, and I will send the PowerPoint in an email at the end of the live chat. But this is what a typical buyer persona might look like. This is a buyer persona that companies have used. So yours it won't look like this if you're using that template, but it should have a lot of information in there. So this will help you kind of connect how you're going to do your buyer persona and what kind of information is typical in a buyer persona.
Where is
Does that make
this?
This is in the PowerPoint, and I'm going to email this PowerPoint. This is part of my live chat.
Okay.
I'm going to email this to you. So every time I do a live chat, I did unit 1, unit 2. At the end of the live chat, I go in and I email every single student and I send my PowerPoint to them. So from time to time, I have students that will be like, well, I didn't know how to do the assignment and nobody helped me. Okay, well, yeah, I did. I did a live chat, went through the homework, and I emailed you the PowerPoint that went through all of it. So, yes, I do as much as I can to help you. It's You guys got to help yourselves, but I do send the PowerPoint and I will send it to you. I send it to both your personal email and your CTU email. So this is an example of a typical buyer persona. It is in my PowerPoint and it will be in your email here in probably 25 minutes. And you will have it as an example to look at. Okay, so then, oh, my slide came out wonky. Okay, so when we look at segmentation variables, so demographic information, we already went over it a little bit, but age, gender, income level, education level, occupation, marital status, all of those things. Demographics explain who the customer is, so it gives you a really good profile of who the customer is. but it does not tell you why they buy. So, two consumers with the exact same demographics can behave very, very differently. Keep that in mind. Okay, so then when we go to psychographics, that is information such as lifestyle, which is activities, interests, routines, values and beliefs, personality traits, attitudes, might be attitudes towards brands, the price, the quality, motivations, things that motivate them, interests and hobbies, social identity. These things are really hard to measure, and often we only get this information from qualitative research, observation, some kind of maybe survey or something like that. But that information, a little harder to come by, but very useful. It can change over time, and it can also change by situation, but it does help you to understand why consumers buy the products that they buy. So it gives you a lot more insight into the psyche of the customer. So that's why it's important to use multiple segmentation bases. So in your paper, in your IP assignment, why is it important to use demographics and psychographics? Because demographics are going to tell us who the customer is, where psychographics helps us understand why they buy the products they do. Okay, so let's look at this is a review of your assignments. I'm going to send this to you. So this, if you look up here on the screen now, I have all kinds of brands, all kinds of different products that we are familiar with. Some of us have bought a lot of the different products that are listed up here. Some of us have maybe bought none of the products that are listed up here, but we are familiar with them. I mean, everybody knows FedEx, Hilton, Heinz, McDonald's, Toyota, Burger King. I mean, if I go through, I can see, let's see, I have bought on the top, I've bought Kleenex, I bought LG products, I bought Samsung products. I use LinkedIn, very big Hilton member, FedEx, Volkswagen, Instagram, Heinz. I've done YouTube, IBM products, MTV, Colgate from time to time, Toyota definitely, Kellogg's definitely, Twitter, yes, Sony. I've done, let's see, what do we have here at the bottom? I've done Nike. I've done Google, I've done Adidas products, and hold on, I got to see what this one is. Coca-Cola, BMW, Levi's. I've done all the products on the bottom row. So think about the products you buy. These are all very well-known brands. They have great brand value because they are well-known. Brands are built in the hearts and minds of consumers. So a lot of times people think that the brand is the name, the brand is the logo. That isn't it at all. A brand is how a customer feels about that product or service, and that is created through experiences that we have with the products or services, built over time and built in our hearts and minds. We buy products repeatedly because of the experiences we've had. We stop buying products because of the experiences that we've had. So when we look at building brands and consider those different brand names that we looked at over on that other slide, brands have what we call points of parity and points of differentiation. So if we look at brands, the points of difference are the attributes or benefits. Remember in our last, I think it was our first assignment for Refresh, Unit 1, where we talked about the attributes and benefits. You're going to see that show up again in Unit 5, where you take the attributes or the features of the product and you look at what is the benefit to me, the consumer? What is the benefit to the consumer? A lot of people took the attributes or the features and created a benefit to the company. But you want to identify what's the benefit to the customer. Why should the customer buy this product or service? And so you want consumers to strongly associate these points of difference with your brand. What are the things that your brand does that no other product will do? What is that unique selling position from Unit 2? We talked about unique selling position. What makes your brand different? What makes it stand out? What makes a consumer want to buy it? So, some typical points of differentiation, the criteria for it is that it has to be desirable to your customer, has to be something you can deliver on, and it has to be very different from all the other products that are out on the market. When we look at points of parity, those are things that are closely correlated with a category. So all of like maybe something that's associated with all fast food restaurants, they all have a drive-through. That's a point of parity, and that belongs to that category, fast food restaurants. You have to be able to correlate it amongst a number of different things, and it has to be correlated with the identity of that product or service. But it also has to be something that's competitive. It's something that customers desire or want. When we look at the points of difference and the points of parity, and we come up with a brand mantra, what we're going to communicate about that brand to our customers, that has to be something that's simple, easy to communicate, but it also has to inspire that customer to want to buy that product, to want to be a part of that brand. So the last thing I'm going to show you is this brand positioning bullseye. And this is something I have used repeatedly when I do branding exercises with customers. And I've done it with probably, I don't know, 20 different companies as we've worked around what their brand is and how they're going to create that brand and maintain that brand identity. If you look at the inside part of this, you have that brand mantra. So if we go back here, brand mantra, you put that in here. So this, ironically, this brand positioning bullseye is for Starbucks. So the brand mantra is the rich, rewarding coffee experience. The points of parity are that it's responsible, it's locally involved, fairly priced. The points of difference, things that make it different, relaxing, rewarding moments, rich sensory consumption experience, convenient, friendly service. I'm gonna cough when I say fresh, high quality coffee because their coffee's not fresh, but they do have coffee. The substantiators are they have 24-hour training of baristas, so they do put their baristas through some pretty significant training. They have good stock options, health benefits. They use triple filtered water. They have a totally integrated system of how they make their drinks and deliver their drinks. The values, personality, or character is caring, contemporary, thoughtful. And then the visual identity that goes with it is the earthy green colors and the siren logo. So these things out here, the consumer target is a discerning coffee drinker. The insights are that coffee and the drinking experience is often satisfying. The consumer need state then is the desire for a better coffee experience. And that competitive product set would be local cafes like mine, fast food restaurants, and convenience shops. The consumer takeaway from this whole brand positioning bullseye is that they want the consumer to feel like Starbucks gives them the richest possible sensory experience drinking coffee. So when you look at building that brand and creating that experience so that the customer associates all these good things with that product, you have to repeatedly come back to this brand bullseye and make sure that you are executing on all of these things and you are building this brand in the hearts and minds of your consumer. Oh, Aaliyah, 80 hours of training now. I can't even tell you how many hours my baristas go through we keep them on training shifts for quite some time till they learn all of the drinks and things like that. And much of our stuff isn't really as automated as Starbucks, but yeah, 80 hours is way better. I mean, I feel like you need that in any kind of barista position. That's really good insight. Okay, so this is all about building brand. We went through information on what you need to do for your assignments. I have your assignments listed in this PowerPoint. And then, how are we going backwards? And then information on demographics and psychographics. And you've got an example of a buyer persona and an understanding of my grading process. Does anybody have any questions as we go into Unit 3 and start the work of Unit 3?
Yes, ma'am. Just want to know in the individual project, what part, you know me, I asked about the conclusion and the introduction. That's the question, the paragraphs. So what part is paragraph or what? Because you're pretty simple and you do everything like really simple. So I'm like, what's paragraph? What's not? What do you want really
Okay.
simple?
Taisha, were you on the live chat when I went through the template, or did you join late?
No, I was in.
Okay, so you don't have any there, everything's going to be information. So it's like a typical paper. The only thing you're including in there is that HubSpot persona. So you need to have some fairly concrete and in-depth information on demographics site. You're going to talk about the product that you're choosing and then the demographics and psychographics associated with that product. So it's all writing in paragraphs.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hey, I
Again,
do have a question.
okay. Yeah, Martavian.
So I was looking at the assignment, and usually there's a space that says something along the lines of include 1 to 3 sources. It doesn't seem like this one has that, at least in the details. Is this right?
I'm sorry. That was funny the way you asked that question. So let me go back and pull up that template again. I think that might help you. Okay, so is everybody seeing I've got the template pulled up. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, like a typical, you put Unit 3 project, blah, 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 all that information on your cover page. You're going to have the title of your paper, and you're going to talk about the brand. So, you'll give a little bit of information, introduction of what this paper is about. Then you're going to choose your brand and you're going to talk about the brand there. You'll probably have some outside sources in there with information about the brand. You may have how long the brand has been on the market, where the brand is sold. Include information on the brand so that if I'm reading it, I have a really pretty good understanding of this product or service, right? So include some detail, and a lot of that you can have information about how you use that product, how you use that brand, but you're also going to bring in outside sources. So Martavius, this is where you would do that. So you may have 1 or 2 outside sources of hard facts about the brand that you've chosen. Then you're going to include information on the demographics for that brand. And you'll get maybe some information. You'll talk about, oh, I was looking at their social media, and here's what I'm seeing from their social media. And you could name the social media sources. You may also include information from their website that maybe talks about their customers. Then you're going to do psychographics, and you're going to include very similar under psychographics. And there are some questions. Remember, there are some very specific questions that you're going to want to answer about demographics and psychographics. So look back at the assignment instructions and make sure that you're including all of those question topics in your information on demographics and also in psychographics. Then you're going to include that buyer persona that you've created. And then you're going to give a little analysis of why it's important to use both demographics and psychographics. And you may want to include some outside sources in that as well. And here we give you these these references down here are just so that you understand the formatting.
Okay,
Sometimes I
gotcha.
get students that leave these references and it's like, no, that was part of the template.
Right.
Don't
Yeah,
use it.
I had not pulled up the template. I was just looking at the assignment
Okay.
details. So I answered my own question when I opened it. I apologize.
No, no, that was a good question, Martavius. I appreciate it. And it was probably a good idea to go back in and look at that template. So hopefully that helped everybody. Any question? There's never a dumb question. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Everybody probably has it if you have it.
So for the title, in the beginning where it says title, we're just talking about what we're going to be talking about, basically, for the title paper part.
You can title your paper, have fun with it. Say this is my paper about whatever the brand is that you're going to use. You're going to give a little introduction about it, what the
Oh,
paper's
so just the
about,
introduction. Okay,
and then you're going to talk about the brand right here.
gotcha.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to set you all free and I'm going to email this PowerPoint to you. And if you do have questions, make sure you get with me through Messenger. Easiest way, ask the questions before you submit your work. Makes it a lot easier to get it done correctly.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And have a good week. I
Yes,
feel
ma'am.
like
You
it's
too.
already Wednesday or Thursday, but gosh, it's only Tuesday night.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, have a good week, you guys.
All
Thanks so
right. Good
much.
night.